On tonight's Wales at 6. Teenager Keely was killed by a speeding motorist on a crossing. Tonight her mum calls for tougher sentences for reckless drivers.
It's such a heartbreaking, gutless feeling, you know? It just feels like to us, it's just another life. It's just another collision. There needs to be some sort of change.
Also on the programme this evening, with the summer holidays in full swing, the simple swim skill to teach children that could save their lives. Plus,
bread of heaven, bread of heaven.
It's the birthplace of one of our most beloved hymns, but can a community rally to save this historic chapel? And de-stressing with the Dovey donkeys, how these rehomed four-legged friends have found a new purpose. Hello, good evening to you. A mother is campaigning for tougher sentencing after the driver who killed her child was jailed for 16 months. Sian Morgan's daughter Keely was 15 years old when she was knocked down on a zebra crossing minutes from her home. She says no parent should have to go through this heartbreak. The Ministry of Justice says some new laws have been introduced to increase sentence terms. Megan Boot has tonight's top story.
On the side of the street, by the edge of a park, something very special.
So remembering Keely Morgan, when someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. She will forever remain in our hearts, our beautiful girl. I love that poem, so lovely.
It's beautiful.
It is. And it's just like Keely, beautiful.
Keely was 15 when she died. She'd gone out for an evening walk and was hit by a car on a zebra crossing.
I just screamed and screamed. I didn't think it was true, but I just let it all out, crying, screaming. I was like, no, this is not right. This can't be it. You don't expect these things to happen at all. I was still in denial until I went to obviously identify her. It was just heartbreaking. I don't ever wish this on any parents, ever. Doesn't matter how little your children are, how big they are. Your children shouldn't be going before you. It's heartbreaking.
Last week, Christopher West was sentenced to 16 months in prison for causing death by careless driving.
I was very numb. I was angry. There's been people who've been put away for longer for stealing stuff, and that can be returned. Yeah. Keely can't come back. No one else's life can come back when you've killed them, so surely there should be a greater punishment for taking someone's life.
Judges decide sentences based on the individual elements of each case, but the maximum sentences, well, those timeframes are set by Parliament. Now, we've spoken to the Ministry of Justice, who say they're looking at a road safety strategy, and there'll be more information on that in due course. But they add their thoughts remain with Keely's friends and family.
So I started this Sunday, just gone. So Sunday afternoon I put it up.
You're nearly at 3,000.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Keely's mum has now set up a petition demanding change, including longer prison sentences for drivers who cause death or serious injury through carelessness.
She had whole life planned. She plans everything. Her story needs to be told. I think she deserves that. She deserves her story to be told.
Megan Boot, ITV News in Cardiff.
Elsewhere, police are investigating the death of a man in Cardiff after a stabbing in the early hours of Wednesday morning. The 68-year-old was taken to hospital from Richards Terrace near the city centre, but later died of his injuries. Investigators have remained at the scene today, and a 40-year-old who was arrested has since been bailed and detained under the Mental Health Act. North Wales Police is working with Spanish authorities after a Welsh tourist was reported missing in Tenerife. Officers believe Geralt, who's 28 and from Llandudno, boarded a flight from Manchester Airport on July the 7th, but didn't check in for his plane home 5 days later. They say they're becoming increasingly concerned about him and are urging anyone with information to contact them. Now, it is a shocking statistic that last year alone, 18 people in Wales lost their lives in accidental drownings. And with the weather heating up and open water looking more inviting, the RNLI is urging people to remember a simple skill that could save them: floating. The charity is promoting the safety technique to coincide with World Drowning Prevention Day today in these early stages of the school holidays. While reporter Issa Farfor has been finding out more and is live at Barry Island for us this evening. Issa, this is all about the importance of keeping people safe, isn't it?
Yes, good evening, Andrea. Yes, today marks World Drowning Prevention Day, and it may surprise you to know that drowning is one of the leading causes in accidental death in young people. So on a warm, lovely day like this, as you can see, it's very tempting to get into the sea, which is very inviting, but it can be very dangerous. This is why the RNLI has launched a new campaign called Find Your Float, urging people to practice floating in a swimming pool or at a life-guarded beach, because when things go wrong in the water, knowing how to float could give you those extra precious minutes and a second chance at life.
Lean back, tilt your head back in the water, put your ears in.
Float to live. And that's exactly what these people are learning to do here.
Keep this position for as long as you need to.
Warmer days mean more young people are diving into the water, and the RNLI is sending out a stark message. Floating could be the difference between life and death.
Position that was easy for me in a practical sense was just to float like a starfish.
If you put your ears in the water, you automatically float, and if you try it with your ears out leaning forward, you sink. So I found that very useful today.
Just being able to take that time to slow down, not panic, and then be able to come up with an action plan and how to help yourself is amazing.
It was easier than I imagined, so I think if I can do it and prepared to do it, everybody should give it a go.
Here at Atlantic College in Llantwit Major, where the first ever lifeboat was invented and gifted to the world, dozens have turned up to find their float, including me. The RNLI says everyone can float, but not everyone floats the same way. Let's put that to the test. It's not that cold.
No, it's not too bad. Okay, so tilt your head back with your ears submerged. Relax and try to breathe normally.
This technique gives your body time to adjust and gives rescuers extra precious minutes. Here at this reservoir, Maxine Johnson lost her son Ruben. He was just 15 when he drowned after suffering a cold water shock. Now she campaigns in his memory, urging young people to float and to live.
My message, I don't want any other family to have to go through the pain that myself and my family and Ruben's friends went through. I feel that if Ruben knew or had the skills around the float to live, things might have been different. So it's an extremely important campaign. Ruben is, missing from so many things in our lives, and we don't have those memories now as a result.
With accidental drowning rates in Wales almost double the UK average, the RNLI hopes campaigns like this can make waves.
We know that an awful lot, sadly, of the most serious incidents that our volunteer lifeboat crews and lifeguards respond to are where people haven't meant to enter the water. They've fallen in, slipped, tripped or fallen. And the water, the open water in the UK is cold enough to trigger cold water shock. Knowing how to float to live, which simply means to relax and float on your back during that initial cold shock phase, can be a really simple skill that can save your life.
It only takes a moment to learn, but it could give you a lifetime.
Well, it sounds simple, but staying calm and floating can buy you extra time in an emergency. Maxine, who you saw there in my report, has been campaigning for nearly 20 years to make sure no one else has to go through the same pain she did. Her message is simple: learn to float and it could save your life. So give it a go, and if the worst happens, you will know what to do.
Issa, such an important message, and we see so many people on the beach behind you there enjoying the water there on this nice evening too. Thank you. People in Wales with conditions such as celiac disease are being given a prepaid card to buy gluten-free foods. The subsidy card will allow those who already receive the food on prescription to buy a wider range of products, which can often be more expensive than those which do contain gluten. All celiacs in Wales will be eligible for a card, as Dean Thomas Welch reports.
You wouldn't know it, as this transaction looks just like any other. But Sherilee Barker has just bought groceries on a prepaid debit-style card, thanks to a new Welsh Government scheme. Sherilee from Narberth has celiac disease and must stick to a gluten-free diet. Not so long ago, if Sherilee wanted gluten-free products, she needed to visit her GP to gain a prescription for the most basic of foods.
I chose not to go and use the prescription service because it just took too long. I didn't want to have to put my prescription in, wait a week for my food to arrive. And at that time, you had a limited kind of choice list. It was pick and mix. Sometimes it was inedible.
Sherilee was part of a pilot scheme within the Hywel Dda University Health Board area, testing the suitability of the gluten-free subsidy card scheme. Now, in a UK first, the Welsh Government says the scheme will be rolled out across Wales, so people can access gluten-free goods more easily and, in many cases, cheaper.
Community pharmacy didn't have space to store some of it. They were finding it difficult to access the foods from the wholesalers. And when the food was coming in, some of it was it had got like 2 days of a shelf life left on it. So the patients were getting out-of-date food given to them. And then the GPs were just flabbergasted by why they were using their time to have to change prescriptions from pasta to bread, when we knew that people could go and buy this in the supermarkets.
According to Celiac UK's most recent cost of living report, a loaf of gluten-free bread can be 4 times the price of a regular loaf of bread. Gluten-free pasta can be twice the price of typical pasta in the supermarket. And even basic ingredients like flour can be double the cost of their gluten-containing alternative.
Absolutely. This is a choice which we're giving to patients. We've had a very successful pilot in parts of Wales. Actually, patients have really welcomed the flexibility which it brings and the ability to normalise what is otherwise something which has been medicalised for people, obviously. So I think there's been enthusiasm amongst patients for the flexibility which this gives them to choose.
For those like Sherilee, whose shop requires all things gluten-free, the subsidy card scheme will be rolled out nationally in the autumn. Dean Thomas Welch, ITV News.
Well, do stay with us. There is plenty more to come for you this Friday evening. We'll be hitting the trails for some fast and furious downhill mountain biking at a competition attracting riders from right across the world. And so, Ruth is out and about in the sunshine. Ruth, how are things shaping up for the weekend?
Well, on a slightly slower pace than biking, Andrea, it's not looking too bad. If you are making plans for this coming weekend, stay with us. I'm very happy to say that for once the weather is looking rather rosy. See you in a few minutes.
It looks beautiful there, doesn't it? Look forward to speaking to Ruth a little later in the programme. Now, though, Rhondda Village has just one weekend left to raise enough money to buy an historic chapel or face losing it as a community space. Capel Rhondda in Hopkinstown closed in December when not enough people were attending its services, and it is now up for sale. But as the first venue ever to hear the famous hymn Come Rhondda, also known as Bread of Heaven, more than a century ago, locals are desperate to save it. Katie Fenton reports.
Bread of heaven, feed me now and evermore.
It's a hymn many know and millions have sung. But far fewer know that inside this very chapel is where the melody of Come Rhondda first echoed.
Be thou still my strength and shield.
Local composer John Hughes performed it here first in 1907 to christen a new organ. But 117 years on, and in December last year, Capel Rhondda held its final service after the number of congregants diminished. Now this Grade 2 listed building is on the market for just £47,500.
When I saw the for sale sign, I felt devastated. This is happening all over Wales all the time. There was a chapel in Porth, I think, last week that's just received planning permission to be turned into flats.
So Rhian launched a fundraiser, and the Welsh Baptist Union has since given buyers until Monday to make an offer. More than £40,000 has so far been raised, with donations even coming in from Norway, Russia and the US.
People are talking about, I remember my grandfather singing this song. This was played at my son's wedding. This was played at the funeral of a family member. By holding on to this chapel, we're almost holding on to a precious thread that links us back to our forefathers.
Welsh Valley chapels hold so much history from the working class peoples of Wales. And I come from a long line of labourers, industrial workers, and they would have come to places such as Capel Rhondda, and it was through these chapels that the working man found a voice. So just as important as the pits are to Wales, chapels and choirs.
How does it feel to perform Cymru outside the place that it was first sung?
Well, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. My uncle donated the organ here in 1927. His name was Emlyn Evans. So it's really sad that it's closed down.
The goal is to turn Capel Rhondda into a hub for community groups and events. Because if this place falls silent, the rich history within its walls could be lost too. Katie Fenton, ITV News in Hopkinstown.
And we'll let you know how they're doing with their target there. It's 17 minutes past 6 now. Thanks for being with us. A reminder of our top story this evening now. And a mother is campaigning for stronger sentencing after the driver who killed her daughter got 16 months in prison. Sian Morgan's daughter, Keirley, was 15 years old when she was knocked down on a crossing minutes from her home by Christopher West. The Ministry of Justice says some new laws have been introduced to increase sentence terms. Still ahead for you on the ITV Evening News.
Coming up on the ITV Evening News, thousands of doctors begin a 5-day strike, meaning thousands of appointments could be cancelled. President Trump gets set to land in Scotland for his first visit here since he began his second term. And we speak to Serena Wiegmann as the Lionesses prepare for Sunday's final against Spain. Join us for those stories and more from 6:30.
Charlene with you shortly. Now here, next tonight, while many of us might be looking forward to a calm and relaxing weekend, there are others opting for adrenaline-fuelled action. A big competition is taking place in the Dyfi Valley where the world's best bike riders are racing down a mountain. Ian Lang reports on an event where it's OK that everything's going downhill.
It's known as one of the world's toughest mountain bike races. Riders push to their limits on a downhill course that demands not only skill but extreme courage. The bikes they use specially adapted to soak up the punishment. It's an event that has a worldwide audience, and this weekend is being held in the steep, rugged hills near Machynlleth, ideally suited for the sport.
To do this course requires nerves of steel. One of those fearless competitors is Hannah Bergman, who's been scouting out the course. You do require nerves of steel, don't you? Because I've been looking at the course. It's just madness. Where did you get the courage from to do something like that?
Yeah, just a lot of practice. You build your confidence step by step.
And what do you think of this particular course? Is it particularly challenging in any way?
Oh yeah, it's the gnarliest course I've ever ridden. Probably one of the gnarliest in the world. It starts way up on this mountain and it pretty much comes straight down. So it's the fastest way down, but it is not easy.
Now this really is a bike metropolis. Every bike here designed specifically to go downhill. And with me is veteran competitor Laurie Greenland. How many times have you done this course? Is it a particularly challenging course? Does it fill you with fear?
Red Bull Hardline, if it doesn't fill you with fear, there's something wrong with you, I think. It's a 20-minute drive to the top of this mountain and it takes us about 2.5 minutes to get down, maybe almost 3, but you're descending fast. When you look up at the hill there, you can see the start line, and For your average person, you'd never believe that you get down there in kind of 2.5 minutes.
The course's designer says the Welsh landscape makes it one of the most testing downhill challenges on the planet.
It's up there, definitely. I think the exposure and some of the terrain we've got here is kind of like, it's pretty hard to find around the world. There's definitely some big consequences up there as well, and we're trying to get as close as we can to the limit of what's possible, whilst it's still being kind of safe and no one having too big a crash.
It's certainly a fearsome test for the best. Ian Lang, ITV News, Dinas Mawddwy.
Extremely courageous. Not sure it's quite for me. And where we're heading next is probably more my scene. It is weather time, and as we head into the weekend, we all know that we want it to stay as nice as it has today. Well, Ruth is out and about and she's enjoying the evening sunshine, which looks rather wonderful. Ruth, how are you?
Positively blooming, I think, is the best way of putting it, Andrea. Welcome to the Botanic Gardens here in Roath Park in Cardiff. The city is just over that way somewhere. The stresses and strains of the week that's just gone feel like a million miles away. There's colour everywhere, and I can promise you, it smells gorgeous. So this is all about Zen. This is the part of the programme where we just go, let's relax. But there's something missing from this picture, and I bet you can't guess what it is. I'm talking donkeys. That's right, donkeys, one of 12 donkeys to be precise, who are lucky enough to call Dyfi Donkey Sanctuary in Machynlleth their home. Not just good for the donkeys, but good for us humans too. Take a look. In the heart of this ancient Welsh woodland is a peaceful sanctuary, home to Dyfi donkeys. This is Marley. He's well, shall we say my spiritual hair donkey? We're just sharing hints and tips here. Marley is one of 12 donkeys who make up this really very special herd. Louise Peters created the Wellbeing site 12 years ago to help people connect with nature and these gentle animals.
Some of our donkeys have been rescued or rehomed. We're very much about having our donkeys living as natural a life as possible.
It must be quite a privilege for you to see. I would imagine that it's tangible. You can see people transform when they meet these animals.
Absolutely. Within 5 minutes of arriving, often you can see the tension drain out of people. Whatever's been their struggle to even get here just disappears as soon as they get into the space with the donkeys.
What is it about these donkeys in particular then that bring you all the way out here?
They're so emotionally intelligent. People mistake them for being stoic and ignorant. They're not at all. They're actually very intelligent.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need a donkey cuddle.
I can understand that. We're taking this group of donkeys to the woodland to take part in a session called Braymates, a community wellbeing group that takes place here twice a week. And the sessions always start with some mindfulness.
Just take a few moments just to settle into the space.
Sam Moresby started coming to the group whilst he was in rehab from a brain injury.
8-9 years I've been coming in. It's the wonderful healing atmosphere, and it's just a relaxing, peaceful, really good place. And the donkeys themselves are just wonderful and so funny, you know.
Yeah.
But they're just such lovely creatures. They don't expect anything from you. You haven't got to converse with them or worry about what you're saying, hurting their feelings. But it's just such a lovely environment for all of us.
It seems there's a real sense of joy and calm for anyone who visits these donkeys in this beautiful pocket of Welsh countryside. And you can see more on those donkeys on Coast and Country at 7 o'clock tonight, right here on ITV Cymru Wales. And I promise you, if that doesn't make you feel well, absolutely nothing will. Apart, of course, from a dose of sunshine this coming weekend. Now then, it's been a lovely day across much of Wales today. A little bit of cloud out towards coastal areas, but things have cheered up. And as we head into the coming weekend, I suppose, if you're making plans to head out and about, the big question is that sun going to keep on shining? Well, let's take a look and see if I can answer that for you.
Midday Mayan temples, followed by sunny afternoons on the sand. TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
Well, the sun will certainly keep on shining as we head through this evening across many parts of Wales. However, as with recent nights, you'll notice lots of low cloud, hill fog, mountain fog starting to develop. And that's thanks in part to quite a gentle breeze overnight tonight. Varying amounts of cloud, and over parts of Eryri we could again see a few spots of patchy rain and drizzle. Now, last night it was quite chilly. Tonight, not quite as chilly. That's why I'm not wearing a coat at the moment. We're looking at temperatures hovering at around 15 or 16 degrees. So it's a return to one of those muggy and uncomfortable nights for sleeping, I'm afraid. Quite murky then as we wake to tomorrow morning. Again, that hill fog will start to lift. But as with today, we could see showers clipping across Eryri and northern areas. So if you are making plans to head out and about into the hills, take that into account because there could be some low-lying cloud as well. As a general rule, the further east you go, this is yet again where you'll see the best of the sunshine, but even here we'll see cloud developing. It's going to be hit and miss with just maybe a few showers where that cloud is thick enough, but generally not too much to put a dampener on your weekend. But as a result of all of this, the temperatures tomorrow perhaps not quite as warm as they have been out here today. We're still looking at 23, maybe 24, but noticeably fresher 18s and 19s out towards the west. As we head through then into the second part of the weekend, Sunday is very much a case of, well, frankly, more of the same. If you bank on a mixture of sunny spells and a few showers at times, you won't go wrong. And the temperatures again hovering at around 20 or 21 degrees. Your outlook is relatively decent if you're making plans for next week. You'll be glad to hear a mixture of sunshine and showers and generally mild temperatures too.
TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
Making the most of summer. Piri sponsors ITV pollen count.
Well, here's the really good news if you are suffering with hay fever at the moment. We are at long last past the peak of the grass and the weed pollen season. So we are looking at generally low counts through this weekend and into next week too. I just want to show you, Andrew, just behind me you can see the colours. People are still out and about enjoying the evening sunshine. And speaking of sunshine, as I've just mentioned, there's more of it to come as we head into this weekend. Whatever you have planned, have a lovely weekend and I'll see you next week.
What good news. I think we may come and join you down there. It's so peaceful. Have a good weekend. And that's it from all of us on the Wales at 16. Gwen Ann's back with your late headlines. Bye-bye.